1963년 12월 22일 오후 12시 30분 텍사스주 달러스. 눈부신 햇살을 받으며 달리 플라자를 달리는 컨버터블 리무진 안에 총탄이 날아듭니다. 진보적인 정책과 도덕 정치로 존경받았던 바로 민주당 출신의 미국 대통령 존 F 케네디입니다. 윌콕스의 저항해야 할 때 침묵하는 것은 비겁한 죄악이다의 말처럼 여기 진실을 갈망하는 짐 게리슨 검사의 이야기가 시작됩니다.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
He not shoot anyone. He good man, good husband.
So it seems David Ferry drove off on Friday afternoon for Texas. A source told Coleman he might have been a getaway pilot for Oswald.
What getaway pilot?
Hold your horses. What kind of source?
The anonymous kind, Chief.
I think I remember this guy, Ferry, speaking in a meeting of some veterans group, ranting against Castro. Extreme sort of stuff.
Susie, back up. They're bringing him out. Numa, turn it up.
Here he comes! Come on, here he comes! Get that stuff! Come on, let's get over. Is there anything you want to say in your defense? Oswald! What happened? He's been shot! He shot him! He's been shot! He shot him on TV! He shot him! Oswald's been shot! There's a man with a gun! There's absolute... It's the guy in that hat.
So many cops in that bitch. What the hell were they doing?
Well, no trial now. Looks like somebody just saved a Dallas DA a pile of work.
Pandemonium is broken loose here in the basement of Dallas police.
Let's get David.
대법원의 얼 워렌 판사는 이 사건이 오스왈드의 단독 범행이라 단정짓고 공식적으로 끝을 냅니다. 정의와 진실에 대한 게리슨 검사의 단호한 믿음은 쉬쉬하며 덮어놓았던 사건에 대한 조사를 정면으로 재개할 수 있는 용기를 준 것입니다.
Hell, I can't remember last night, let alone 3 years ago, boss. What are we saying here?
We're saying that when Oswald went to Russia, he was not a real defector. That he was an intelligence agent on some kind of mission for our government and remained one till the day he died. That's what we're saying.
Therefore, because Oswald pulled the trigger, the intelligence community murdered their own commander-in-chief? Is that what you're saying?
I'll blow you one better, Bill. Maybe Oswald didn't even pull the trigger. Nitrate tests indicate he hadn't even fired a rifle on November 22nd. And on top of that, they didn't even bother to see if the rifle had been fired that day.
He had his palm print on the weapon.
Well, it went to the FBI, Bill. FBI didn't find a goddamn thing. It comes back a week later, and one guy in the Dallas Police Department suddenly finds a palm print. For all we know, it could have been taken off Oswald in the morgue. There's no chain of evidence.
I never could figure out why this guy orders a traceable weapon to this post office box when he can go into any store in Texas, give a phony name, and walk out with a rifle which can never be traced.
To frame him, obviously.
There's a lot of smoke there, but there's some fire.
We're talking about our government here.
No, we're talking about a crime, Bill, pure and simple. Y'all gotta start thinking on a different level, like the CIA does. Now, we're through the looking glass here, people. White is black, and black is white. Just maybe Oswald is exactly what he said he was. A patsy.
케네디의 암살이 단독 범행이 아닌 배우가 있다는 가설에 이르게 된 게리슨 검사는 끈기 있게 사건을 재구성해 봅니다.
Moved back to the Pentagon, called Kennedy a traitor. When he came to New Orleans to address the Foreign Policy Association, you know who introduced him? Our friend Clay Shaw.
And the Warren Commission call him?
His boss was the one on the Warren Commission who handled all the leads of the intelligence community.
Alan Dulles.
Head of the CIA since '53. Kennedy fired them both. Cabell was his deputy for 9 years. Talk about the Fox investigating the chicken coop. Now we'll have to subpoena them both.
Frank, you're wasting your time here. Big Jim gave strict orders. No FBI allowed.
But it's you I want to talk to, Bill.
No. Boss would fry me and hog fatty knew I'd talk to you.
Boss got a serious problem, Bill. Real serious. We know what's been going on over at your office.
Yeah, I guess you do.
You got nothing, Bill. I'm talking to you as a friend now. You're riding on the Titanic. Time to jump off before you get destroyed along with Garrison.
Frank, I don't want to hear this.
We're talking about your career here, Bill. Your life. You're a young guy. We know you're working that Castro thing.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Look, we know Oswald didn't pull that trigger. Castro did. But if that comes out, there's going to be a war, boy. Millions of people are going to die. And that's a hell of a lot more important than Jim Garrison. God damn it, look at me when I talk to you.
CIA 등 외부 조직들은 게리슨 검사의 부하들에게 계속적인 협박과 회유를 시도하고 빌은 어쩔 수 없이 포기하기에 이릅니다.
I never realized Kennedy was so dangerous to the establishment. Was that why?
Well, that's a real question, isn't it? Why? The how and the who is just scenery for the public. Oswald, Ruby, Cuba, the mafia. Keeps them guessing like some kind of parlor game, prevents them from asking the most important question, why? Why was Kennedy killed? Who benefited? Who has the power to cover it up? Who? Believe me, do your own work, your own thinking.
The size of this is beyond me. Testify.
Me?
Testify.
No chance in hell. No, I'd be arrested and gagged, maybe sent to an institution, maybe worse, you too. I can give you the background. You have to find the foreground, the little things. Keep digging. Remember, you're the only person to bring a trial in the murder of John Kennedy. That's important. It's historic.
I haven't yet. I don't have much of a case.
You don't have a choice anymore. You've become a significant threat to the national security structure. They would have killed you already, but you got a lot of light on you. Instead, they're trying to destroy your credibility. They already have in many circles in this town. Be honest. Your only chance is to come up with a case. Something. Anything. Make arrests. Stir the shitstorm. Hope to reach a point of critical mass that'll start a chain reaction of people coming forward. Then the government will crack. Remember, fundamentally, people are suckers for the truth. And the truth is on your side, Bubba.
익명의 거물급 인사의 제보로 게리슨 검사는 용기와 확신을 가지게 됩니다. 자신을 지지하는 사람들이 있고 더 이상 혼자만의 싸움이 아니라는 것을 알게 된 그는 퇴색되어 가던 사건의 의미를 되찾게 됩니다. 정의와 진실에 대한 확고한 신념이 다시 그의 도전 정신과 끈기를 불태웠고 그는 언론의 명확하고도 소신 있는 입장을 밝히게 됩니다. 대선에 출마한 존 F. 케네디의 동생 로버트 케네디 상원의원 역시 암살을 당하게 되고 거대 세력 앞에 굴복하느냐 소신을 지키느냐의 기로에 서게 됩니다. 엄청난 삶의 무게 앞에 한 인간일 뿐인 그도 가족의 품에 잠시 의지합니다. 재판에 서게 된 게리슨 검사. 재판의 결과도 중요하지만 본인이 소중하게 생각하고 의미 있는 일이라고 판단했기 때문에 험난한 과정을 헤쳐나갈 수 있는 힘이 생겼던 것입니다. 당시 제프루더가 찍은 동영상을 최초로 공개하게 되고 게리슨 검사는 자신의 소신을 밝히기 시작합니다.
The American public has not seen that film because it has been kept locked away in a vault for the last 5 years in the Time Life building in New York City. There's a reason for that. Watch.
Picture, Your Honor. Not only is Mr. Garrison insulting the federal government, but he is also introducing a highly subjective...
So what really happened that day? Let's just for a moment speculate, shall we? We have the epileptic seizure around 12:15 p.m., distracting the police, making it easier for the shooters to move into their places. The epileptic later vanished, never checking into the hospital. The A-team gets on the 6th floor of the depository. Now, they were refurbishing the floors in the depository that week, which allowed unknown workmen in and out of the building. They moved quickly into position, just minutes before the shooting. The second spotter on the radio talking to the other two teams has the best overall view, the guard spot. B team, one rifleman and one spotter with the headset and access to the building moves into the low floor of the Daltex building. The third team, the C team, moves in behind the picket fence above the grassy knoll where the shooter and the spotter are first seen by the late Lee Bowers in the watchtower of the rail yard. They have the best position of all. Kennedy is close and on a flat, low trajectory. Part of this team is a coordinator who's flashed security credentials at several people chasing them out of the parking lot area. Probably 2 to 3 more men are down in the crowd on Elm. 10 to 12 men, 3 teams, 3 shooters. The triangulation of fire Clay Shaw and David Berry discussed 2 months before. But someday, somewhere, someone may find out the damn truth. We better, or we might just as well build ourselves another government, like the Declaration of Independence says to, when the old one ain't working, just a little farther out west. The American naturalist wrote, a patriot must always be ready to defend his country against its government. I'd hate to be in your shoes today. You have a lot to think about. You've seen much hidden evidence the American public has never seen. You know, going back to when we were children, I think that most of us in this courtroom thought that justice came into being automatically, that virtue was its own reward, that good would triumph over evil. But as we get older, we know this just isn't true. Individual human beings have to create justice, and this is not easy, because the truth often poses a threat to power, and one often has to fight power at great risk to themselves. People like S.M. Holland, Lee Bowers, Gene Hill, Willie O'Keefe have all taken that risk. They've all come forward. I have here some $8,000 in these letters sent to my office from all over the country. Quarters, dimes, dollar bills from housewives, plumbers, car salesmen, teachers, invalids. These are people who cannot afford to send money, but do. These are the ones who drive the cabs, who nurse in the hospitals, who see their kids go to Vietnam. Why? Because they care. Because they want to know the truth. Because they want the country back. Because it still belongs to us, as long as the people have the guts to fight for what they believe in. The truth is the most important value we have, because if the truth does not endure, if the government murders truth, if we cannot respect the hearts of these people, then this is not the country in which I was born in, and it's certainly not the country that I want to die in. Tennyson wrote, "Authority forgets a dying king." This was never more true than for John F. Kennedy, whose murder was probably one of the most terrible moments in the history of our country. You, the people, the jury system sitting in judgment on Clay Shaw, represent the hope of humanity against government power. In discharging your duty and bringing the first conviction in this house of cards against Clay Shaw, that's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Do not forget your dying king. Show this world that this is still a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Nothing as long as you live will ever be more important. It's up to you.
Defendant, please rise. The clerk will now read the verdict.
New Orleans, Louisiana, March 1st, 1969. We, the jury, find the defendant, Clay Shaw, not guilty.
We believe there was a conspiracy, but whether Clay Shaw was a part of it, it's another kettle of fish.
There's Jim! There's Jim!
The American media is reporting this as a full vindication of the Warren Commission. Do you agree?
All I think it proves is you cannot run an investigation in the light of day, even questioning the intelligence operations of the United States government.
We understand that the morning paper will call for your resignation, that you're unfit to hold office, that you ruined Clay Shaw's reputation. Mr. Garrison, are you going to resign?
Hell no. I'm going to run again. And I'm going to win. Thank you.
Who do you plan to persecute next, Mr. Garrison?
If it takes me 30 years to nail every one of the assassins, then I will continue this investigation for 30 years. I owe that not only to Jack Kennedy, but to the country.
Hey, there's Clay! There's Clay Shaw!
Mr. Shaw, how does it feel to be acquitted?
A bit exhausting, I must say.
What will you do now, Mr. Shaw?
I shall go home and cook some etouffee.
Are you confident about the outcome of tonight? Do you think Garrison will be back for a second round?
Sure he will.
도전 정신과 끈기는 바로 자신의 일에서 중요한 의미를 발견할 때 발휘됩니다. 그것이 명확할 때 우리의 삶은 더욱 깊어지고 풍성해질 것입니다.